you said you wanted to be a lawyer, and they had martial jurists at the time, which would go to school to be the law. But you went to Wilson. So when did you decide that I want to step into law?
I did that when I was in the second grade. Right? I used to always watch Matlock, Murder, She Wrote. It was always the old, law shows, but it really stemmed from my grandfather, who was shot as a security guard while working at Wegmans on West Avenue. He ultimately survived, but I wanted to know what happened to the person that shot him. And so my uncle Reggie at the time was a state trooper, and he said, well, he'll go to jail and explain to me the process. And I said, okay, I want to be a lawyer. And then my sister would always like, you always watching those law shows. And I'm like, I'm going to be a lawyer. That's what I'm going to do. And so I never gave up on that dream. Despite what was going on, I never gave up on that dream to become an attorney.
All right. So after Wilson, where did we go from there?
I went to Buffalo State for a year, and then I transferred to John Jay College of Criminal Justice in Manhattan. And so I went downstate for another 4 years because I lost credits in college. So by transferring, I had to do an extra year. And then I also did an internship in the New York State Assembly when I was in college, where I was taking 15 credit hours. That was only 12. So I went to John Jay College of Criminal Justice, and then I went to Albany Law School, and where I fulfilled the dream of becoming a lawyer.
All right. So how many times did it take Lovely Warren to pass the bar? One
time.
That's magnificent. Do you know, every time I meet a lawyer, the first thing I say is, how many times did it take you to pass the bar? And it's not often one.
One time.
Because that's like one of the hardest tests, isn't it?
Yes, in New York State, it is a very, very challenging test. I just, thank God for his many blessings, and, that I was able to do it on one try.
So you've always had intellect. That's what I'm hearing. Even going from Ford School to Catholic school to Wilson, intellect has always been like a middle part of your heart. It seems like you are very brilliant.
Well, thank you. Yes, I think that it was just instilled in us. So I'm named after my Aunt Lovely.
Okay.
So she was the first in our family, in my mom's family, to go on to college. And so after that, it was like, everybody, like, this is what you're going to do. Either you're going to get into a career or you're going to college, but doing nothing is not an option. And so that was, and then my father, as I said, is from Trinidad, and in the Caribbean, education is, something that they instill in all of their children and want them to go on and to be the best that they could possibly be. So even though my dad had his challenges, his whole thing was get an education. And no matter what, even when in his worst days, it was, don't follow in my footsteps. I want you to get an education. Right.
Now, with your being named after your aunt Lovely, the name Lovely, tell me how did that, how did life go with that name? I know people many times probably say, is that your real name? Is that
all the time, even to this day? Is that your real name? It was challenging, but growing up, I never went by that name.
Right.
I went by a nickname. Okay. So growing up, I didn't go by that name. And so it wasn't until I got to college that I really used Lovely as my name, and came to embrace it and love it and thank my aunt for naming me after her. Because she came to the hospital, they didn't know what to name me. Like, everybody's like, oh, your parents must have loved you.
Yeah.
And they had no idea what to name me.
Wow.
And she said, no. She was in the hospital at the time, and she said, name her after me. Name her Lovely Ann Warren. And it's funny.
Whole name?
Yeah, name her Lovely Ann Warren. And that was what my name was. And well, it is. And my initials is Law.
Wow. You know what I'm just getting at? Wow, so it was destined.
Yeah.
Okay.